Ja, som ni ser så kör vi numera nästan alltid i den här settingen, professor. Det är ganska mysigt med en eld så här bakom, va?
Jag tycker de här fåtöljerna är jättesköna, så att jag sitter kvar här mellan avsnitten också.
Det är nästan som man kan tro att vi faktiskt köpte lägenheten bara för att vi skulle kunna ha den här inspelningsplatsen.
Var det inte det vi gjorde?
Ja, det är ju ingenting vi nämner vidare, så att säga.
Nej, framförallt inte så att någon eventuell sambo skulle höra det kanske.
Exakt, ja. Det är så jag tänker också. Nu, professorn, idag har vi har besök.
Vi har det.
Från Skottland.
Långväga besök.
Långväga besök, ja. Nu vill jag veta här, vad kan du om Tomintouls egentligen?
Nästan ingenting. Det här är ganska roligt, för det här är, alltså jag brukar ju alltid åtminstone låtsas att jag har svar på tal när det gäller det mesta. Men Tomintoul ska jag säga att det är nästan helt blankt.
Det är härligt att höra, för att annars hade min överraskning dött ut lite om du hade sagt ja, den här är ju hemma, det var ingen nytt med det. Men jag tänkte att idag så ska du nämligen få gå på en rätt rolig provning, är min plan för dagen. Du ska få pröva lite olika sorter av Tomintoul, du ska få pröva lite new make och lite annat. Hur tycker du det låter? Det
låter jättespännande. Särskilt, det är alltid särskilt kul att testa när man får möjligheten. Det är någonting jag rekommenderar till er. Möjligheten att testa en new make av en så att säga riktig whisky. Därför att då kan man börja förstå lite grann hur det hänger ihop. Om det smakar så här när det är nytt, new make är alltså råspriten vi pratar om. Hur kan det bli så här? Och då kan man till slut börja förstå lite grann av hur en new make kommer bli när den är klar. Det är rätt kul.
Brukar du förstå den här kombinationen då?
Nej, jag har inte förstått den alls. Den hänger inte överhuvudtaget ihop. Vi har ju det här klassiska tillfället när vi en gång testade, jag tror att det var vad heter de? Smögen,
ja.
New make. Och jag sa, det är ju ingen rök i den här. Det är 78 ppm, var det han sa, tror jag.
Ja, jag tror det. Och sen prövade vi en fullkomligt gräslig. Det var i Uppsala, tror jag.
Det var Strathayla.
Ja, det var Strathayla, ja.
Det var bland det värsta elände som jag har provat faktiskt. Och den är ju en väldigt mild och trevlig och balanserad whisky när den är färdig. Så det är ju, man ska inte dra slutsatsen att den kommer smaka som Newmaken.
Och sen har jag även hört rykten om att du har legat under Lafroy-kranen och prövat
det stämmer också.
Ja, det stämmer också.
Det är ganska trevligt faktiskt.
Det är inget som går att skriva av när det gäller professorn. Det är liksom det man kan tolka in. Bra, nu ska vi göra så här att jag ska börja med att ha en väldigt speciell gäst här i studion och tala lite runt omkring Tomintoul. Så jag tänkte att du kan ju börja med att gå och sätta kuddar för öronen nu så att du inte hör någonting.
Ja, jag gör det.
Här. Och sen tänkte jag att du ska få gå in och köra en provning. Sen på slutet så ska du faktiskt få elda.
Ska jag få elda?
Du ska få elda.
Ja, det låter roligt.
Bra, det och mycket mer. Nu kör vi. So, welcome back to the Whiskey Podcast. As you can see, I do not have the professor with me right now. Instead, I have Lorne McKillop.
Hello, good evening.
And welcome to Sweden.
Thank you indeed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, do you like the setting over here with the fireplace
very
and
nice.
everything?
Yes, very homely. Very homely indeed.
Very homely.
Yes.
So I thought that we were going to speak a bit about the background of Tomintoul and then speak a little bit about the peat, the peat tack that are coming now to Sweden as
sure,
well.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So if I understood it right, you were founded in the 1960s.
Yes, the distillery was finally built in 1965. So it was started in 1964, but it was finished in 1965. Yes.
And why did you start in 1960? Was it to do single malt or was it something else?
It was to use the sources of water that were locally there. There's 3 good springs and you need good water to make good whiskey. And so the original founders of the distillery decided to build that distillery there after a great deal of research. And my company, Angus Dundee, bought the distillery in the year 2000, in August 2000.
And when was the first time that you released single malt? Because in the original it was going to be material for blended, right?
Well, Tomintouls has always produced blending whiskey, and the previous ownership really didn't sell Tomintoul as a single malt very much. It was sold occasionally by a few independent bottlers, but really not so much as Tomintouls by Tomintoul. But when we acquired the distillery in August 2000, we decided, yes, it was a really nice whiskey and it should be sold as its own brand name. And so within a few months, we were obviously selling it as Tomintoul. One of the previous importers in the United States did buy a tiny amount of Tomintoul, but it was really so small it wasn't on the radar screen at all.
Yeah. And from what I understand, Tomintouls, the village is a very special place. It's high up, isn't it?
Yes, the village is quite a long way from the distillery, but the distillery is purportedly, and I have to use the word purportedly,
okay.
the highest altitude distillery in the Highlands of Scotland. Now, of course, whereabouts in the distillery do you take the point of altitude, and 1 or 2 distilleries are, say, within half a metre or a metre or two within comparable heights. So therefore, it's very difficult to, unless you have space-age technology, to say who's exactly the highest. But we are purportedly the highest in the Highlands of Scotland. Yes.
But it's under discussion, so to say.
Well, it's like which is a mountain? Is it 3,000 meters and 1? Is it or 3,000 meters and 2? I mean, how do you measure it exactly?
Yeah. So well, we have the same discussion in Sweden, I think, about 2 mountains. Right. It's been going on for ages. We don't know.
Exactly. Exactly.
And now you're here for a very special occasion because you're going to release something fantastic new to the Swedish market.
Yes, well, we've produced something called the PT Tang for quite a while, but this is the first release of it on the Swedish market on the 1st of March. So very excited about this. It's a main listing, which is nice. So it'll be in full distribution in the monopoly, and we think it's going to be a very great success because I think the Swedes love peaty whiskey.
Yeah.
But this is slightly different. So this has a bit of a sort of quirk to it, which we'll discuss, obviously, in this interview.
Yeah, but I thought that we would jump into that, actually, because to begin with, the peat. I mean, Swedish people are normally used to Islay peat.
Yes.
This is not Islay peat. It's a different mix, isn't it?
Absolutely. Islay peat is obviously the benchmark upon which everyone is compared. But Islay peat is based on marine and seaweed and marine plants, if you like.
Yeah.
And therefore the iodine contents and the phenolic compounds produced by the peat when it's burnt are different from the phenolic compounds produced in speyside peat. Speyside peat is more moss based, and therefore the phenolic compounds are actually subtly different from the ones produced in Islay. And therefore I would say that the Islay peat is more aggressive and more sharp, whereas the speyside peat is more gentle and more elegant, is probably a way of putting it.
Right. And also, you're speaking about something called the Gentle Dram.
Well, that's the logo for the whole Tomintoul range. It's a very gentle, easy-drinking whiskey. The stills are very big. If you go to the Tomintoul, you can see these enormous 4 stills that are absolutely enormous. And it's a rough rule that the bigger the still, the lighter the whiskey. And so it's not an exact rule, but it's a rough rule. And so the whiskey made at Tomintoul is quite light and elegant in style and flavour. But when I'm doing blending or tasting, I always think of flavour in 3 dimensions. And the Tomintoul spirit and the Tomintoul whiskey has perhaps not great depth, perhaps not great height, but a great length in the palate, and which makes it a great blending whiskey because it stays in the palate for a very long time, even though it's quite light. You get other whiskies that are very big and robust, but they're big and they're tall and fat, but they stay in the palate for a very short time, so they're in and out of your palate, like an express train. I won't mention any names, but I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. The flavour in 3 dimensions is very different, and obviously making a peaty malt with this gentle whiskey is again very different.
Yeah. But going back to the peat again, I mean, you're saying it's not Islay peat, it's not speyside peat.
It's peat local to Tomintoul. It's as the crow flies, as we'd say in English. It's about 2 or 3 miles away. So and we use that obviously because it's a local ingredient, and we specify to our maltster what sort of how peaty we want it to be. Yeah. We've experimented over the year. We only started producing it, I think, in 2003 was the first year we started producing it.
Okay.
We really originally produced it really for blending purposes.
Yeah.
Because to buy in Islay malts to make peaty blends is A, expensive, and B, of course, not necessarily reliable for getting a hold of stock. So if you're making a peaty blend, you may or may not get all the stock on a continuous basis. So we decided to make our own peaty malt. And as I say, originally purely for blending purposes. We never intended to go into the Tomintoul range. And we produced it for 2 weeks in June, and then had to shut down the distillery and clean everything out because all the pipe works were all contaminated.
Yeah, so I read.
And then and go on holiday in June, of course. And then 2 weeks in December, and then shut down for Christmas, and again clean everything out. So we originally only produced it for 2 weeks in June and 2 weeks in December. I think we've now gone up to 3 weeks in June and December, so it's a little bit more production. And I think it's going to be a very popular whiskey, so we have to go up again to even more weeks of the year to make the peaty malt.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I'm looking forward to tasting it, or actually I have been tasting it.
Good.
This is the story. I was a few weeks ago in Malmö at Symposium, and Thomas Kuttanen, who you know, he put forward this dram to me and said, what is this? And I actually had no idea. And I was thrilled about that the peat, as you say, it's not Isla peat and it's not Speyside peat, which I have kind of a problem with, to be honest.
Right.
This was good, I would say, a very, very round and tasty peat. And then afterwards, it tasted just like, as you call it, a gentle dram.
Well, in fact, part of the recipe, I do put in some older non-peated malt. Because when I was looking at the original cask samples, when we decided to put it into the Tomintouls range, I was looking at it and it just seemed a little bit thin on its own. So I thought it needs to be rounded and sweetened, or better balance. That's what I was looking for, more balance. From my wine trade days, I always look for balance in product. And so I started experimenting, putting in different percentages of older but non-peated malt from Tomintouls into the recipe. And I sort of got too high and came back a bit more and so on, went backwards and forwards and came across a sort of percentage which I was happy that gave us the nice sort of sweet core that is the original Tomintouls sweet malt, around which was that lovely peaty, smoky, fiery taste. And so it has a nice balance to it. It has the sort of sweet core and the fire and the smoke around the outside. And that was the whole purpose of creating this recipe.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to now stop for a bit because we need to throw in the professor. He needs to try this now, I think. Okay. But one last question: do you still have a Guinness World Record?
For what?
For what? I think it was the biggest bottle ever produced. Actually, I googled it before this.
I think it's still the biggest bottle of single malt whiskey in the world.
Yeah.
But I think an American distillery has made a bigger bottle of whiskey, but not single malt whiskey.
Exactly.
That bottle is still, I think, in the village of Tomintoul. It was a handmade bottle that cost a lot of money to blow the handmade bottle. It was filled, I think, with 105 bottles of whiskey. And I do recall the story, our production manager had to hammer the cork in. It was very, very difficult.
I can guess so.
Very frightened of breaking the whole thing. And but it still exists, and it's on display in Tomintoul village itself. Yes.
Yes, really cool. Well, so now it's time for you and the professor to have a bit of a tasting, and I'm looking forward to see what he thinks about the combination of the peat and the sweetness.
Superb.
Yes. Well, see you in a bit.
See you.
Okay, so I'm back now to I guess we should try some whiskey.
Professor, good evening, and we should look at the new spirit from Tomintouls. Here you have an example of the non-peated spirit and an example of the peated spirit. So you will see the two side by side. I'll start with the non-peated first,
and this looks very pale, so I guess this is new make.
It's new make, and it hasn't seen any wood, so of course it's come straight out of the still.
Yeah.
And it looks exactly like water. It's fabulous for cleaning your suit if you don't mind smelling like a distillery, but you can't really drink it at this sort of stage. But we'll take a sniff though, and even though it's high strength, I think this is about 68% alcohol.
Yeah, and this is a non-peated now.
The non-peated. And you can't smell alcohol. It's extraordinary how it's very high in alcohol, but it's not rough, it's not pungent, it's not astringent, it's not... in fact, I think it almost smells fruity, almost like grappa.
It does. You can feel it's lots of esters in this.
Yeah, and it's a really almost you want to drink it because it smells so sweet almost.
Yeah, it is. It's very sweet actually. It's got a signature that I can get from almost all new make, and it's like the fruit is almost gone bad. It's on its way to going bad. It's very sweet. It's almost overly sweet.
It's gone overripe.
Overripe.
Toffee-ish almost. But it is rather nice.
It is actually. It's not bad at all.
We'll then move on to the peated new make spirit, and again you see the same clear colour.
Yeah, I mean it looks the same. You could never tell the difference by just looking at the new make.
You'll be transported completely away from what the fruit is.
Whoa!
You can still smell the fruit in the background. Of course, the fruit is still there, but in the front of the nose, you're getting a nice smoky, almost like someone struck a match near your face.
Very much like it, actually, and it's like I can feel the forest burn here in this one.
Exactly right. And But there's no marine in here. There's no salt,
nothing,
no iodine,
nothing,
no seaweed.
Nothing marine or salty or things like that. It's completely. It's very, very. Actually, there is a nose here that I can't.
It's almost fruit berries behind the smoke.
It is.
As if you're trying to barbecue some lingonberries or something.
It's very foresty. It's very, very foresty.
Now, I'm going to do a little something. This is high-strength alcohol, and alcohol by its physical chemical property is hygroscopic, which means it likes to dilute itself with water. And when I put a small drop of water in, you will see that the alcohol will grab the water and it will go faintly hazy. And after about 10 seconds, it will clarify.
So that's cooling down the spirit.
In fact, it's actually heating up because the alcohol grabs the water, it creates a heated reaction, exothermic reaction, and that drives out more aroma. So in fact, funnily enough, the addition of water adds to the aroma, doesn't decrease the aroma.
Yeah,
so in fact,
that is the case with lots of spirits, but not always. But
you now smell it, it's even smokier than it was when it was at full strength.
Yeah, you're right, it's hazy now.
And that's the alcohol grabbing the water.
Yeah. And
making thermal layers, if you like, and thermal layers will make it go opaque, and then it clarifies it in about 10 seconds. And now you can smell the smoke even more clearly. But the berries also come through more clearly as well.
It's more like, it has more attitude now.
Yeah.
Than it has before.
It's even more opulent than it was beforehand.
Yeah. It's so nice, because not all new makes are nice to smell.
No,
this one is.
It certainly is, and it is very, very attractive. You can imagine how wonderful it's going to be in a few years' time when it's been in contact with an oak cask.
Yeah, I would hope so at least.
Yes.
Oh, so thank you very much for letting me try the new make. It's really beautiful.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Great, thank you. Okay, so we have switched the setting slightly, not the setting, but the content on the table.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. We now have mature whiskey, obviously, and the colour difference is very apparent from being the time in the oak casks, which make it, of course, much browner.
Yeah.
So we have two samples here in front of you. One is a 10-year-old Tomintoul, but not peated as a reference purely because it's not available in Sweden.
And that's from the core range.
That's from the core range, absolutely.
Be the normal regular.
The normal regular 10-year-old Tomintoul. Yeah. So you can see the gentle dram, you can see how sweet and how natural the whiskey is, and then we'll look at the peaty version, and you can see how different they are from one another. So let's start with the 10-year-old.
Yeah.
And with one sniff, I'm sure you can understand now why we call it the gentle dram.
Absolutely.
It's soft, gentle, very easy.
And it has a beautiful sweetness in the nose.
Very feminine, very easily approachable. Definitely a good sort of breakfast whiskey. And,
I kind of agree actually. Or for dessert.
Or for
works
dessert.
as well.
No, this is just such a nice, elegant, early evening aperitif whiskey, being the youngest age statement we make at Tomintouls. Might have a little quick sip anyway. Well, that is not painful at all, is it? It's very easy to slide down.
I can also feel some almost marzipan or nutty tones in it. Yeah.
Now, you've already tasted it a few seconds ago. Yeah. Is it still on your palate now? It hasn't run away, has it?
It hasn't gone away, no.
So
some of the notes linger for a while.
So here's a light, elegant whiskey that stays on your palate for a long time. You can see why it's a great blending whiskey.
Now it actually comes back. It's very interesting.
It won't run away.
No.
Let's look at the peaty version. And one smell and you are instantly transported into...
And you can really feel that this comes from the new make we tried in the last clip.
Yes,
they are related. So for some whiskies, when you smell or taste the new make and then the finalized product, they are you can't see the connection between them at all. But here, this actually has the soul of the new make still in here.
And I hope you can pick out a nice sweet centre to this whiskey. It's still fruity, it's still sweet, and then that lovely burning fire around the outside.
Yeah, it definitely has the sweetness, not as much as in the 10, of course. Mm-hmm. And I would say it's not the core nose on this one is not. It feels older than this one.
The non-peated whiskey we put in is older than whiskies, we put in 2 ages of peaty whiskey and an older age of non-peaty whiskey.
Yeah.
Again, it's nice and gentle, but the peat's definitely there, and it stays on your palate again for a very long time. It doesn't run away from it.
I'm a bit surprised actually, because I did expect more aggressive peat in the palate, but it doesn't come. It's like you said, it's balanced. It's more peaty in the nose.
It is on the palate.
On the palate.
And that's certainly true, but the peat is more gentle to you.
Yeah.
Whereas Islay peat can be quite aggressive and quite harsh and quite powerful. This is subtle peat. It's there for sure. I mean, it isn't running away from you in terms of peat, but it's not smacking you in the face too much.
Absolutely not. It's more like taking you away to this when you sit in a forest and maybe you put up a fire and you sit there with your friends, and it's a very cozy feeling.
Now, actually, I'm going to ask you to add some water again, and you will see how the peat increases when you put a small drop of water in.
Yeah, I really like the bonfire feeling of this. It's beautiful. Because I can agree with what Carl said earlier, that I don't normally enjoy the Speyside version of peat that much, but this is very special.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, definitely increased.
It increased
in
the
nose,
peat aroma, and this is the alcohol reacting with the water, creating a heated reaction and driving out more aroma. So a small dilution.
But I also think it opened up some malty notes in the nose.
This is the sweet core in the middle that I'm trying to talk about. Yes.
So it grew in the nose.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Now you can see why 2 or 3% of this in a blend would actually change and amend a blend quite a lot.
It will.
And so this is why it's originally produced for blending purposes. But we liked it so much we put it into the main range. But it's the only one in green glass. So the whole rest of the core range are in clear glass.
Yep.
But because this is the only one that's peated, it's the only one in green glass. And I think people tend to associate peaty whiskies with green glass bottles.
Yeah, it's a beautiful whiskey. I'm very happy that we could try it. Great. And now we do have some dirt here as well.
This is not dirt. This is actually peat from Islay in the foreground.
Oh yes.
And peat from the Speyside, or from Tomintoul.
Yeah.
And apparently you're going to set it on fire. So may God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah, I can't smell anything, so I think we need to set it on fire to see what happens. Well, let's try that and hope that Carl is insured.
Well, I've never done this before. I've done many things in my life, but I never set fire to peat in an interview.
It's not that simple, apparently.
Peat doesn't burn very well, which is why it's used, because it's a slow, smoky fire. It's not a roaring fire at all. I can smell it.
You can already smell it.
You can smell it for sure. It's as you say, forest. It's not sea. It's forest.
It's not at all like when you smell Islay peat, because Islay peat will smell without burning it as well, and you can almost smell the sea.
Are you going to set that on fire too?
We could try it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that simple. I think it's falling apart a bit, but let's try it. I hope that the lighter is not.
The lighter's out of gas. Which no.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go.
Don't burn your fingers.
I'm getting the hang of burning peat.
Right.
There you go.
Now that smoke is much more aggressive.
Oh yes, definitely.
It's much more pungent, much more bitey.
But I must say, this is not the most marine Islay peat I have tried. I haven't seen worse.
I haven't burnt much Islay peat, so I don't know. But you can smell those smokes are very different.
Yeah.
And so the peat is different for sure. I mean,
So a huge difference in the peat used for this one, and it really shows in the taste and the smell of this one. Good. So excellent. Thank you so much for letting me try.
No, thank you for burning your fingers for peaty tang.
So it's time to let the doctor back in.
Okay.
And he'll switch places with me.
All right.
Okay, so thank you.
Thank you indeed. Good.
Ja, väl tillbaka här i studion så har professorn nu äntligen fått pröva en liten range av Tomintouls. Alltså, hur var upplevelsen? Blev du förvånad?
Ja, alltså, jag vet inte om jag ska säga förvånad. Jag blir alltid förvånad när jag prövar ny whisky. som jag inte har provat förut. Så,
är det liksom bara ett sinne du har? Så här,
men den här blir man ju kanske positivt överraskad. Det här var ju ändå en whisky som förväntningarna kanske inte är skyhöga på en 10-årig whisky från Skottland generellt. Det kan vara bra, det kan vara mindre bra, men det är liksom inte någonting man kanske förväntar sig att det är det bästa man har druckit. Det var det kanske inte heller, men den är jättebra 10-åring. Och den är verkligen precis som vi fick beskrivet här, att den är den här 10:an var ju otroligt söt och insmickrande och trevlig på alla sätt och vis. Medan den här andra, den rökiga, den är kanske lite mer min stil när det gäller att ha mer attityd. Men den går aldrig över och blir elak.
Nej, härligt. För det är ju den här som kommer då till Sverige. Den 1 mars nämligen. Skulle du vilja beskriva lite vad du tyckte om röken i den här? För att du var inne på samma moment som jag hade. Att det här var inte standard inlandsröken.
Nej, det här är inte den vanliga.
Det är inte gummiröken.
Nej, alltså. Absolut inte. Och det är kanske det viktigaste av allt som skiljer här. Det finns vissa andra destillerier som också lyckas få till en rök som är mer åt det här skogiga hållet och mindre åt gummidäck och elände. Men den här är verkligen inte en nyans av elakheter i röken. Jag tror det är det som som skiljer den åt, som gör den lite unik. Att man tänker direkt, som jag sa, på lägereldar, på att vara i skogen när man var liten kanske. Mer sådana saker än en ond, bråd död och kärad rep.
Ja, det var ju härligt att höra.
Ja, men jag menar som Ayla,
när du dricker whisky.
Ja, som Ayla whisky.
Ja, det låter bra det. Du, vad kostar en sån här då i Sverige?
Ja, det har ju inte jag någon aning om. Det hade jag hoppats att du skulle veta.
Men om du får gissa ett pris då?
Ja, det är ju en nas det här. Vi vet ju att den inte är åldersatt. Så vad ska man säga då? Jag kanske ska säga vad jag tycker att den ska kosta. Okay. Med risk för att det blir totalt fiasko.
Gör det då.
Sen Tomintouls, inte jättekänt brand. Ganska coolt. Peaty, passar marknaden. Nej, men jag tycker nog att en sån här skulle väl åtminstone, alltså det är 500 plus på den tycker jag.
All right. Det är jättebra att du säger det, därför att den här kommer nämligen 1 mars och du kan få ett pangpris för den. Artikel nummer 327, den här kommer kosta 299 kronor.
Vad säger du för någonting? 299 kronor?
Det är helt korrekt.
Ja, då måste jag nog säga att då är det faktiskt en av de mest prisvärda whiskyna på Systembolaget. Det står jag för. Den är inte superspektakulär, men för 299 så är den faktiskt helt sanslös.
Professorn, kommer du köa när den då kommer ut?
Måste jag köa?
Ja, kanske inte, men du vet efter att ha varit med i Whiskypodden, då vet man aldrig.
Nej, det är klart, jag höll ju på att missa vår egen whisky när vi släppte den.
Precis, det är det jag menar.
Men jag kommer köpa en sån där.
Ja, kul.
Och det är faktiskt, det säger inte jag i varje avsnitt, så I did not get paid to say this.
Och jag ber om ursäkt här om jag hade fört lite bakom ljuset och så vidare. Men det var just för att jag ville inte att du skulle på förhand veta att det skulle vara rök från inlandet i Skottland. För jag tror nämligen att du hade kommit in med en annan förväntan då. Jag ville överraska dig. Så det var därför upplägget blev som det blev idag.
Största överraskning på den här, det är priset. För att någonting jag känner nu för tiden är att det oftare och oftare kommer nya, lite mindre kända brands, och det man försöker göra är att man försöker släppa någon kul nas med någon twist som man totalt överprisar och försöker trycka ut på bolaget. Det här är inte alls en sån.
Vad kul. Vad kul. Du, vad ska vi göra nästa gång i Whiskypodden då? Det har vi ingen aning om.
Nej, vi har ingen aning. Vi kanske fortfarande sitter med Tomintoul.
Ja, vi får se. Men hörni, tack till alla er som har tittat där ute. Som ni hörde, 327 har den här för artikelnummer. Släpps den 1 mars. Och podcastavsnittet är någon dag eller 2 innan det.
Ja, det hoppas vi verkligen.
Ja, det hoppas vi. Så då säger vi tack för idag och på återseende.